As South Africa marks Youth Day, attention turns to the rights and well-being of the country's youngest citizens. While the day commemorates the bravery of the 1976 Soweto uprising, it also serves as a reminder of the ongoing need to protect and promote children's rights. From access to quality education and healthcare to protection from abuse and exploitation, the spotlight is on whether South Africa is truly living up to its constitutional promise to put children first. Joining me now to unpack this conversation is the CEO of Theron Inc, Shando Theron. Shando, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Welcome to the show. I just want to give our viewers a little bit of insight. So Theron Inc is essentially a firm where you're specializing in divorce law, matrimonial law, complexities of that nature. And as you said, the best divorce lawyer ever. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rory Sang. I think if your day job doesn't work out, you can always come work for us as our media liaison officer.
Oh, wow. I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, you have an angelic voice and you certainly have a way of putting things very succinctly. Yeah, Rory Sang, the constitution of our country, as we all know, we've got a phenomenally good constitution. And that constitution, section 28(2) says that the rights of children are above any other right. So it's before, and if you take a matter that's has to do with, for instance, maintenance court, before the father or the mother can buy or purchase luxuries, they have to make sure that their children are fed, that their children have an education, that their children have access to medical care. The government has a similar responsibility in that it has to make sure that children have medical care, children have decent education, children have food in their plates. And how do they meet those rights? Well, it's very easy for the government to meet those rights by creating jobs. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. If you create jobs for adults, those needs for children are generally met. Unfortunately, and this is so unfortunate, the other day, again, our president made it clear that the ANC is putting transformation above job creation. Mm-hmm. Now, we've all seen what transformation means. You can look at the Zondo Commission. That's one form of transformation. The other stat that just came out the other day is more than R1 trillion. A trillion. I don't even know if R1 trillion is a million billion or 1,000 billion. It's just figures that I can't imagine. But R1 trillion since democracy has gone to 100 well-connected individuals. So unfortunately, the ANC has stated that transformation, and that is what transformation means, above job creation. And for children's rights to be looked after, what we need is job creation.
And of course, it is Youth Day, so we're commemorating all things young people, children's rights, things of that nature. I wanted to ask, in your opinion, what are some fundamental rights that children need to be aware of in terms of protecting themselves as South African citizens? I mean, I was reading an article the other day that spoke about how you can't really kind of exercise rights that you're not necessarily aware of.
Look, whether you're aware of your rights or not, sometimes it's actually worse being aware of your rights and not being able to exercise them, I'd say. For instance, you as a young lady is supposed to be able to walk down the streets of Soweto or Alexandra 12 o'clock on a Saturday night being skimpily dressed because it's your choice and you're supposed to be safe. That is your right. However, we know that between rhetoric and reality, there is such a chasm, such a big gap, that if you were to do that, you would be raped, you'd be violated, you'd be, and it's not just in those areas. I'm just naming those areas because it's areas that a lot of times I have court cases, so it's areas that I know of. But it's almost worse knowing that you have the right to be safe, knowing that you have the right to education, knowing that you have the right to food, water, economic opportunity. It's much worse, I think, knowing those rights, but also knowing that you can't actually have access to them because of the system having been corrupted or the system having been purposed for the benefits of individuals for the benefits of other individuals and not for you.
So then, these rights that you've mentioned, how important is it that, children are aware of these rights, that they're informed of such rights? Because you've mentioned so many different things. And then how can, government officials, lawmakers kind of ensure that children are educated?
Yeah, how do we ensure that children are educated? We ensure that children are educated by spending the money that's been allocated to education budget wisely, by building toilets at schools where your child goes to school and he doesn't drown in a pit toilet, by ensuring that the teachers are properly trained and qualified, that they're properly paid, properly motivated, receive a decent salary, and so forth. It's a whole plethora of actions that has to be taken. But what it basically comes down to having honest government officials.
As a law student myself, something that we often learn in class is about the best interests of the child. That's the first thing that the court is looking at when they're dealing with granting primary care to a parent, custody battles, things of that nature. Are you able to just explain to our viewers what is the best interests of the child and why do young people need to be aware of this criteria?
Right. Now, the best interest of the child, it's our previous Children's Act. It wasn't exactly called the Children's Act, but for simplicity, I'm speaking to people that aren't law students like you. The grounding of the previous act was happy mother, happy child. And that's how it was worldwide. Then it changed, and it changed to also worldwide. It changed for the better, which was the best interest of the child, where it now can be in the best interest of the child for the father to have custody. It can be in the best interest of the child if the parents live close to each other, for there to be a 1 week rotating care and contact regime, that the children stay with the father for the 1 week and then they stay with the mother for the other week. It's in what environment does that child function best in? And what the court and what has been proven through studies and statistics the world over is that children thrive in an environment that is structured, that they know they're getting up at 6 o'clock, they have to wake up. At 6:30, they have to feed the dog. At 7 o'clock, they have breakfast. At 7:30, they leave for school. That sort of structured environment, that more often than not, is what the best interest of the child looks like.
Very well explained. Thank you so much. And of course, it's June 16th. We're commemorating what happened on June 16th, 1976. On this Youth Day, I'm very, very passionate about human rights, child law, things of that nature. On this Youth Day, why is it important then, that children have an awareness of their rights, especially in them remembering what happened on June 16th? So how does us knowing these child rights help us not forget June 16th?
Very, very, very important question. How do us, and I love the way you phrase that, how do us knowing these rights help us not forget? I think more than anything else, people must know, or the youth must know, the power of the youth. If you want to see change, real change in the country, don't leave it up to corporations. It's the youth. It's the youth, the next CEOs, the next judges, the next people who are going to sit on the bench, the next jurists, the next generation of doctors, not the current one, the next one, you. That's where the power lies. And don't forget that. But power, like any power, can be misused and it can also be used. I can have a vehicle, a car, which I can use to transport people to the hospital, or I can use that same car to transport drugs. So it's for you to decide that power that the youth has. How are you going to use that? And more often than not, are you going to allow certain political leaders to hijack that power from you and to use it for their own advantage?
Wow. Thank you so, so much, Mr. Theron. You've definitely enlightened us so much, and I personally feel a lot more informed. That was the CEO of Theron Inc., Shando Theron.
Incredible what he says there about power, eh? Never forget the power that you hold.
Definitely. It's important that we're aware of it so that we're not abusing it as well, right?
Yeah, certainly.